Man, I just got a bitch about the shitty podcast offerings that I see out there lately. It's so hard to get a free show. I gotta thank the Cryptid Creatures podcast, even though I can't stand the hosts and they hurry their guests into the encounter and they do such a terrible job of editing and they're really fucking rude to people. They just usher them right. Okay, okay, have a great night. Okay, they're just like so short with people. It's fucking rude as fuck. Or they just push people right off the diving board. Like, okay, tell us about your sighting. Where was it now? Okay, It's like people got shit they want to say and they don't even know how to conduct themselves to even do the edit, and they end up uploading some fucking whack ass shit. But credit to the guests for telling the stories. And then I've been watching the Sasquatch Theory channel on YouTube. He's got a lot of good stuff that he's offering. I really do appreciate Miguel. But fucking Wes Germer, for the last fucking 2 weeks, has uploaded pretty much repeat episodes that were on other shows. So 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, he uploads fucking the same interview by the exact same guy with the exact same title as on the Cryptid Creatures podcast. Then on the 9th of April, he releases a whack-ass episode with him and Tony Merkel just bullshitting about their money-making exploits, which I don't even listen to that garbage. But Tony Merkel released the same shit on his show. So you got fucking doubles on fucking Sasquatch Chronicles for 2 weeks in a row that you couldn't even watch for the fucking, not the members, just for the free show, which is a fucking waste of time. So you can't listen to that. Don't listen to the fucking confessionals because that shit's fucking whack. You got double uploads. And then Tony puts out these little teaser episodes, and he did a reload episode of something. So that's well and great. But I mean, like, man, put the fucking content out there. I'm just going to quit listening to this shit and just catch up on it. It's not even like worth checking on and seeing if there's any good shows, because I'm like really so disappointed in this shit. And then, I don't know if you ever listened to Blurry Creatures. I cannot stand the hosts. There's one that's worse than the other, but they're both annoying as fuck. And they had this fucking man cow, like, mass media fucking dumb fuck voice guy on the show. And I mean, they just exaggerated his shit and blew it all out of proportion and used his radio voice, plucked him, play a trick on the fucking people. He had a legitimate encounter. It was all right, but it wasn't like, you didn't even need to say who the guy was. You could have just said, have such and such on. We're going to give your encounter, not kiss ass, name drop, celebrity butt lick, which is what they did. They're super smug fucks. They're all thinking they're buddies with all the fucking Bigfoot schmoozers. So yeah, that Blurry Creatures shit is fucking worthless. It's hard as fuck to get a good show out of them. But, yeah, so there really hasn't been a lot of shit. Vic Cundiff's been putting out his show. It was a really good show with Matt Knapp from Bigfoot Crossroads. I don't know if anybody heard that. Of course, it's not on YouTube. It's on the, Vic's got 2 shows, My Bigfoot Encounter and another one. And whichever one's not on YouTube is the one that Matt was on. So you couldn't comment on it. But aside from that, I don't know, Bigfoot Crossroads has been pretty good, pretty consistent. I haven't necessarily really liked the last few shows that much, but the last guy that was on was decent. But I'm not big into ghosts and the paranormal and all that stuff. It's kind of, I like to keep that stuff separated. Whole nother topic, just the same way I do with UFOs. It's kind of a separate genre that if you want to learn about that, you want to learn about that. I'm very interested in Sasquatch and UFOs and any stories pertaining to that, but I'm not talking about like some bullshit creepypasta, like read a story like, oh, I got an email. Like, no, I want to hear people talking about their experiences, and I want to hear people coming forward, because that's what the internet is doing, is spurring people to go, God, I've been holding this story inside forever, but I'm not paying a fucking penny for it, because you don't pay me a damn penny for any of my truth and any of my stories, and I sure as fucking asking anybody for money, and I don't got money to give out to anybody to hear their story. You either got truth and you want to tell it, or you're fucking stupid and you give it to somebody who's going to charge money to fucking tell it. And, that's the fucking cult. Like, you're giving these guys a fucking free meal ticket with your experience. That is insulting. And not only that, you're actually holding the story back from tens of thousands of people who otherwise are not going to hear it, who really should be hearing it if you're telling a story of significance in regards to trying to prevent people from having to have this happen to them, or being aware of the signs when this stuff starts happening to know what to do, etc. But, you know, if you think feeding the fucking douchebags like Wes Germer and Tony Merkel is worthy, go fucking head. But personally, I think those guys are fucking dipshits when it comes to their beliefs. And there's very few people who I even trust speaking to. And I've done a few interviews, and you don't see me going out and trying to do the fucking circuit like some of these guys. It's so insulting when you hear the same guy week after week telling a story. And then I was on this show and this show, and it's like all the mainstream ones. I was on Bigfoot Crossroads, which people listen to. It's got thousands of views, but my interview on the Xeno Hunters has thousands of views too. But that's like a completely different audience. That's Q from Alaska that I did that interview with. And then I did the Daniel Ott show, the Edge broadcast. That guy, I fucking love his personality. He's a little goofy sometimes, and I feel like he's missing the point, trying to make a joke, but he's fucking comical. And yeah, I really do like Daniel Ott. I liked doing that show a lot. It was a very fun interview. But, you know, those are across the board. So if you're listening to all those three shows, you're pretty well-rounded. But chances are most people are listening to the mainstream bullshit like Sasquatch Chronicles until they get so fucking lulled to sleep with the lack of a fucking offering that they're like, fine, I'll fucking give Wes my credit card. Fine, I'll break down. Let Tony charge me every month. But, you know, that's not happening, man. I've done a podcast. I put in work. I know how much it takes. I did it all for free. And I was proud with my offering so far. But once you get such a big reputation, this shit just comes piling in. All you got to do is turn the fucking light on and answer the phone for these fucks. And I guarantee you Wes has fucking 5 times more stories that he doesn't put out there, that doesn't meet the criteria of his show. And you don't know what he's not uploading because he doesn't include a lot of the fringe stuff that people might be emailing him about that he's just, no, I don't want to put that on my show. So just realize these guys are kind of full of shit sometimes, and they're all just about image. They don't call anybody out. They play stupid like Tony Merkel, and they're very smug like the Blurry Creatures guys, and they're very hurried at times, very impatient like the Cryptid Creatures podcast fellows often are. But that's my take on the recent podcast world in a nutshell.